Hey everyone, welcome to That Challenge Podcast. How are you guys doing this evening? Real Crime Friday. Yeah, it is Real Crime Friday. According to Jenna, it's Real Crime Friday, everybody. It's been a while since we did a real crime chat. I mean, obviously we're going to continue to talk about this case as it, as things change, and obviously things have changed today. Pretty big deal. Everybody knows what's going on, I think. If you're here, you kind of know what's happening. But Annie did a live a little earlier. I watched hers about it, and yeah, she did a really good job. Annie's got she's really good at like seeing things that other people don't see. So I really enjoy watching her live. So everybody make sure you subscribe to Annie from 10 to Life. She's got really good stuff on this. And she only focuses on crime, which is like her niche. So she's good at it. So obviously if you're here, yeah, right. Get out of here. Loser. Okay, so if you guys are here, welcome. If you're a troll, get lost. But thanks for joining us today. And today we're going to cover the Petito family is suing the Laundries, and it's a big deal. We're going to read the lawsuit together. We're going to ask some questions, and we're going to get here together and talk it out and have some conversation. So if you didn't know, the coverage that we've done in this channel with you guys and me here, I'm going to just fix this camera a little bit, has been in like 3 or 4 documentaries in the UK and in the US, and they've covered us talking about this, and it's been a really, really, really crazy journey. And there was sort of justice for Gabby, meaning that we found out the truth. And Brian unalived himself in the woods out in Florida there. So I mean, it wasn't the justice that a lot of people were looking for, but the guy's definitely rotting in hell. So that's some justice. So yeah, thanks for coming, everybody. Yeah, so if you didn't know, the Petitos are suing the Laundries. Absolutely. Yeah, because I watched the Peacock documentary actually when I went down to see Chelsea in Florida. We watched it together. It was really, really surreal. That's nothing like that has ever happened to me before. So it was surreal that they used the footage. They did a really good job with the documentary. And of course, there's probably going to be a part 2 now that all this is going, because this lawsuit, in my opinion, is going to open up a lot of information, a lot of doors, because of the nature of what they're looking for. So, yeah, Gabby's parents put at the timeline in the lawsuit we're going to read here in a second. One thing that I noticed was that, well, let's just read it together. I mean, it's probably going to be a little bit easier if I just do that. So let me just see if I can dig it up for you here. Here we go. Okay. So this was filed, when was it filed here? March 10th, yesterday. So it's just yesterday. Obviously, this thing's just starting to come out now. So just kind of reading your comments as I go along here. Well, FLA's been doing a lot of great coverage too. Like if I go to them too for mine. So everybody's been doing a really good job at this, covering this whole case for sure. This was a big case. And again, let me just get back to this. I will reiterate, everybody, and the family has reiterated, that all the creators that covered this, the virality of this case, was likely the reason it got solved. Okay, and I think we're going to go through that tonight a little bit too, because we're going to see. And I think it's going to actually, when we read this and go over it, we're all going to be justified. A lot of us and what we thought was true, what we thought. So got some things wrong, but some of those things we got real right. And they were obviously conjectures, and still it's a lot of them still are, but we got a lot of that right. So anyway, let's go over this lawsuit real quick here. So complaint is, come now, Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt, and through their undersigned counsel filed within complaint against Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie. Whatever happened also to Roberta and Chris getting divorced? I wonder what's going on with that. Right? I wonder if they just can't afford the divorce anymore because, they spent all their money. So anyway, let's go. This is an action. This is interesting. This is an action for damages that exceed $30,000 exclusive of prejudgment interest, costs, and attorney fees. So they're saying $30,000 outside of, and they're going to add on, the interest, the cost, and attorney fees for the whole thing. So it's not just $30,000, and that's what I think. It's going to be plus whatever they pay for the lawsuit, hiring their lawyers and everything else like that. So $30,000 is pretty low. A lot of people are like, why are you not suing for like $100 million? Because they likely could easily sue for millions and millions and millions. What I think they're doing is bringing this and showing a number that's really important because they want you to know it's not about the money, right? They want you to know this is about justice, getting it in, like, even though that his parents can't really suffer going to jail or anything like that, they're bringing this for, like, the record, right? We want to put it on record that these people knew what they were doing, and we want everybody to know how gross they were. That's what I think anyway. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. I mean, they could do for millions and millions and millions. They could bankrupt them completely, but they're not. And I think the reason is because they don't want it to look frivolous, because they actually want this to go to a jury, right? So the venue is proper in Sarasota County, Florida, because the defendants reside therein, which means they all have to go to Florida, that's fine. That's kind of how it goes here. If people want to sue me in Ontario, they have to come here to sue me. The plaintiff, Joseph Petito, is a resident of Vero Beach, Florida, and his father, Gabriel Petito, deceased. The plaintiff, Nicole Schmidt, is a resident of Blue Point, New York, and is the mother. And then the defendants, Kristen Laundrie'a, are residents of Northport, Florida. Okay, we knew that. Brian Laundrie'a and Gabriel Petito became. So here's the timeline in a legal thing here. So here we go. Yeah, I think, Laura, they wanted to have some justice, absolutely. So Brian Laundrie'a and Gabriel Petito became engaged to marry on or about July 2nd, 2020. On July 2, Brian Laundrie'a and Gabriel Petito left New York in a van owned by Gabrielle to take a trip to Western United States, which was expected to last for several months. Prior to the trip taken by Gabrielle and Brian, Joseph and Nicole Schmidt and Christopher and Roberta Laundrie'a had a cordial relationship. They're laying this out. It's important for them to lay that out, that they were cordial. The reason they're saying that is because they want you to show you that they had a decent relationship before this went down. So they can't say that, oh, we weren't talking before. They are saying, yeah, we would talk before. Like, they were engaged to be married. Sorry, I need to drink. So, Gabrielle had hopes of becoming a travel influencer and van lifer and document her cross-country travels on social media sites such as YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. During the course of the aforementioned trip, Gabrielle called her family almost daily, including her parents, Joseph and Nicole Schmidt, and her siblings. The last communication that Gabrielle Petito had with Joseph Petito was on August 21st, 21. We've gone over that timeline. If you're new to this case, just kind of joining us now, go back and watch the videos, guys. We went in depth when we brought the maps up. We brought up the place where he got picked up and then got dropped off and then got dropped off again. And it was all like being triangulated. And this was all before her body, I think, was found, wasn't it? Something like that. Like, we were early in this thing before she was found. And it was when it was going viral, obviously. But my conjecture was, I'm not sure it's going to bring this up, but it's the 27th. We'll go to the next line here. This is going to make sense. So during the course of the aforementioned trip, the last communication was on August 21st, which is a big deal because we think that she was murdered. I think it was blocked down on the 19th. Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody. The 19th she was murdered. So the last communication I know Nicole Schmidt had with Gabrielle Petito was on August 27th. Sorry, August 29th is the day I meant to say. So 27th was the last conversation she had with her mom. It is believed that on August 27th, Brian Laundrie'a murdered Gabrielle Petito. The cause of her death was blunt force injuries, the back, neck, and manual strangulation. Now that is news to me because I thought it was the 29th. Didn't we like sit down? Yeah, a lot went down on the 27th. Didn't we sit down and think it was somewhere around between the 27th and 29th? Because didn't he get picked up from the hitchhiker? Didn't he hitchhike on the 29th? So that's like 2 days of her being killed. That's okay. That's quite crazy, actually. But I'm not sure they can lock it down to Gabby's parents think the 27th. So I'm going to defer to her parents because likely they know more than everybody else. Well, maybe not just. To Andy says, I just want to say the slang definition for Roberta is when you have a sweaty upper lip. That describes his mother. I didn't know that. Roberta. Sweaty upper lip. All right. Okay. So we're gonna default to the 27th, which then changes the timeline a little bit from what we thought. Yeah, unless the journal stated the 27th exactly, Heather. But that's crazy because when he's picked up on the 29th coming down from that place where we went, we saw that there's a phone there, there's internet and all that kind of stuff, likely where he made these calls. That means that she's dead for 2 days before he gets up there. That changes it, right? Okay, continuing. It's believed on August 27th, that Brian... So Gabrielle Petito was 22 years of age at the time of her death. After Brian Laundrie murdered Gabrielle, Brian Laundrie sent text messages back and forth between his cell phone and Gabrielle's cell phone in an effort to hide the fact that she was deceased. Did anybody know that? Did we ever talk about that? Because I don't think I remember seeing that he sent her text messages. And what about the idea that he didn't have a phone? So all that was completely like jumbled all the time. Yeah, sorry, I'm just reading your comments as I continue on, guys. Okay. All right. Another one. On August 27th, it's believed that Brian Laundrie sent a text to Nicole Schmidt in which referred to Gabrielle Petito's grandfather Stan by name. Gabrielle Petito never called her grandfather by his name. So that, again, that makes more sense on the 27th because it seems like and this is what makes this a little bit creepier too. So he killed her on the 27th and then that night texted her mom so that she wouldn't get worried. Right? So he was continuing the conversation because he wanted to hide it, right? So that's okay. That makes more sense. It is believed and therefore averred that on or about August 28th, Brian Laundrie advised his parents, Christopher and Roberta, that he had murdered Gabrielle Petito. On that same date, Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie spoke with attorney Borlino and sent him a retainer on September 2nd, 2021. Okay, that is a big deal right there, everybody. So what we thought, and I think I'm still correct about this, maybe we'll never know, and because I don't know if the police can actually get call records, I don't know, whatever, that he went up to that place because we know he was up there, the place with the phone, the payphone, was likely making calls from that payphone, so there was no traceability. Maybe he told his parents, go somewhere, I'll call you at a different house, whatever, I don't know. Get a burner phone, something like that. Making those calls, and this is what I think I've been saying since the beginning, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he called them and said, I messed up, what do I do? Right? And they said, here's what you do. Okay? And then he left. And they again, I think they knew, and they were hoping that she would just never be found, right? They were hoping to bank on the lies that they broke up. She's like, I'm leaving, and, never found again. So he couldn't be blamed because there's no body, right? Remember we said that really early. No body, no crime. He cannot be, unless there's footage or something. There's no proof, no body, no evidence. Sorry, nothing you can do about it. All he had to do was stay silent. So the fact that they lawyered up is a big deal, and we've been saying that all along. Everybody has been saying that all along. Why lawyer up? Why lawyer up? There's just that one piece right there is the fact that they lawyered up is everything. And I know you can't just bank on that and the courts wouldn't accept that and a judge won't say, but I mean, why else do you lawyer up? If you don't know anything, why do you hire a lawyer? Yeah, the video, again, the video of the RV going through messed up everything for them. But I asked this question again. This is the reason why everybody was super upset or like thinking that something was going crazy. Why on earth do you lawyer up if there's no problems? Exactly. If Red, White, and Bethune did not drive by, didn't post that footage, I think he would have been sitting there. And he says, I don't think he called them before coming home because if they were advising him and trying to help him cover up, they would never let him drive the van home. They'd have him leave it somewhere. I thought about that too, Annie, but I thought the idea might have been that she says, I'm flying home or I'm leaving, and he had no choice but to take the van because she had left. So, yeah, both ways work. But I mean, there's something to be said for why did he go up to that place, Annie? Why did he go up to that? I don't know what you call that place, where all the showers and the bathrooms and the stores and the phones are. That's the only one around there. Why did he go there? We know he was trying to create an alibi. That's why he was text messaging. But he's also creating an alibi for him going up there. They had to have the house tapped and stuff. Are his parents psychopaths? Or how did they not get caught if they knew? The thing is, they wouldn't have tapped the home until later. So there's no way they would have been speaking. To say she left him, she was stranded, had to fly home, would make it more believable that she ditched. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They were going to say she ditched him, right? And then he's like, I had to go. I didn't know where she was. I waited for 2 days, right? 27th to the 29th. I don't see her. I had to get home. You know, I'm not going to leave the van here. I assume she just flew home or whatever, right? There's so many lies you could tell. And if there's no evidence, there's no body, then it's pure speculation at that point, right? They have to take his word for it because there's no evidence. Well, that's not necessarily true, guys. Make sure we don't say when you're guilty, you're silent. No. I also encourage you guys, if you ever get arrested, don't speak to the police. Please don't. I mean, that's the answer all the time. Okay? Never speak to police ever about anything. And I will say that. But the fact that they lawyered up and the lawyer told them to be quiet and silent about all this stuff is really big. Okay, so let's get back to the thing. Sorry. Okay. Okay, on August 30th, 2021, Brian Laundrie sent a text message from Gabby Petito's phone to Nicole Schmidt stating that there was no service in Yosemite Park in an effort to deceive Nicole Schmidt into believing Gabby was exactly. That's a big one too. We talked about that a lot, that he was just trying to say, place them in Yosemite, right? Place them farther away because it had been a couple of days. We'll get to this, Laura. This is again, there's a couple of big points in this case. Big points. And we'll get to them. But obviously the one is going to be why they lawyer up. 2, why did he beeline to the most densest part of the forest and pick up his bag? I never watched the interview with Cassie, but someone said she said into the camping trip was to say goodbye, but now that clip is gone. Annie, early on we did see that clip. I don't think it was that she did say the words we were going to say goodbye, nothing like that. I don't think that came out like that. I mean, if that would have happened, that would have been way bigger news, to be honest with you. Okay, sorry. Let's continue, guys. Okay, on September 1st, Brian Laundrie returned to the home of his parents, Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie, driving Gabrielle Petito's van. After this point in time, there was no contact between Joseph and Nicole on the one hand and Christopher Laundrie and Roberta on the other. So they stopped contacting, stopped talking, didn't answer any of the questions. This is when it started getting pretty big. From August 27th to September 19th, when Gabrielle Petito's remains were found at the Spread Creek dispersed camping area in Wyoming, plaintiffs were extremely distraught and were attempting to locate Gabrielle Petito. Yes. While Gabrielle Petito's family was suffering, the Laundrie family went on vacation to Fort DeSoto Park, September 6th to 7th. Let's get there. It's a very interesting timeline here. So, there's no way they didn't know Gabby's parents were looking for her. They reached out, emailed, called, text. I think he went to his door, did he not? So there's no way they didn't know, right? And if they're that worried, put yourself in the position of Brian's parents for a second. And let's say, for argument's sake, his parents don't know that he killed her. He told them some lie and they believed it, right? I don't believe that. I'm just telling, let's create this scenario for a second. Okay? And they believe that? Fine. But what about her parents calling out, reaching out, knocking on your door, texting you, calling you relentlessly, emailing you, everything else? Does not something start stirring in your brain to say, Brian, are you sure? Because she's not home, right? She didn't make it home like you said she was doing. Where could she possibly be, Brian? Could you explain that? No. So it doesn't connect. I'm sorry. If my son came home with that lie or that story, and then the other parents were frantically searching and something was going on for weeks, there's just no way as a parent you're like, we have to, okay. Also the lawyer, you throw the lawyer in there September 2nd, that changes everything. So in that time, if you believe what they say, which we don't, why do you go camping? That's so crazy. And he brought the van home. Exactly. Again, all that could be explained if you really, really want to in a court of law. Hey, he thought that she abandoned him. He couldn't just leave the van there. He had to get home. So he took the van home. Right. So That's what I'm saying. There's too much that doesn't add up about that lie. It can't connect, and any lawyer worth their salt's gonna be able to dismantle that in seconds with questions, which is what they're hoping for with this trial, right? They want to ask them questions. So, Brian, what did Brian tell you? Right? I think they're gonna be compelled to tell a lie then. If they have to go in front of a jury and get asked by lawyers, what did Brian tell you when he got home? We're gonna be like all ears. Right? Because it's going to, well, then if that's what he told you, why'd you hire a lawyer on September 2nd? Right? They're going to have, I don't know how they're going to get around that lie. Because if they lie and say, Brian, we didn't know, well, then why'd you hire a lawyer? Well, I don't know. Right? Then if that's the case, why'd you go camping? So there's too many disconnects that are going to make them look guilty no matter what they say. Right? And I hope they do. I hope they take this to court. Yeah, the fact that the Laundries refused to even acknowledge Gabby's family makes me think they had to have known Brian did the deed. Again, that's based on the lawyer saying, don't say anything to anyone. There's no body. Nothing that anybody can do if we just stay silent. And we even knew this up until the 19th. Even when she was found, he was still a person of interest. The only time that it changed from person of interest to something a little bit more serious is when they found that he used her credit card. That's it. He's still to this day. Well, not to this day. Sorry, up to the point that the everything was released, like the book and everything else. He was not. He couldn't be. Right? So that's how the law works. And that sucks sometimes. All right. In an effort to avoid any contact with Nicole Schmidt on or about September 10th, Roberta Laundrie blocked Nicole Schmidt on her cellular phone, such that neither phone calls nor texts could be delivered. And she blocked her on Facebook. That's news. That's news. Why would you block somebody? Again, I am so interested in this getting to court. And again, I don't think that they're not going to, please, Gabby's parents, and I know they're not. They're not just going to settle outside of court for this, because to settle for 30 grand, that's not what this is about. This is about justice. They want this to go to a jury trial so they can ask those people the questions. And if they lie while on the stand, I'm pretty sure that's illegal, right? I'm not sure if they can go to jail for that, but it's not a criminal trial. It's a civil, so I don't know the rules, right? I hope they air the trial too. I want this to go to trial. And they're going to have to get a more expensive lawyer than Bertolino if they want to get around this, because I'm sorry, he is not cut out for this. So, it is illegal to lie in the stand, but is it illegal? Is there more, how do you say this? Is there more writing on it if it's a criminal versus a civil case? You can go to jail for perjury. Okay. But unless there's a way to prove that lie unequivocally, you can't really do anything about it, right? They could just say, well, that's what we said. But if there's no way to prove it, then whatever, right? They can plead the fifth at a civil trial? Okay. But I think pleading this fifth at a civil trial, I mean, yeah, I think in the end, they're just going to have to suck it up, plead the fifth and say nothing and just go right to the end and say, okay, well, you're going to have to pay them hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah, put Cassie on the stand. Someone's going to break in this case for sure. Yeah, they proved that Brian did it because he wrote it in his journal that they found in his bag, that his dad found in his bag. Kirby says, I do honestly think that the Laundrie family were told to block anyone involved in the Petito case. Yeah, well, I mean, of course, the lawyer was saying all that. The burden of proof, yes, Amber, the burden of proof is less in a civil trial as well, yes. Pleading the fifth looks way worse. Absolutely does. And lie detector, Cass is right, cannot be used in court. We all want to know what's in the journal. And maybe this case will allow, like the discovery, will legally allow everybody, the family, to see that. See, right? None of us have seen the journal. I think legally, we might be, the Gabby's parents' attorneys might be able to see that. Yeah, I'd like to see the digital trail between Brian and his parents. Absolutely. Absolutely. We know what the camping trip was for, Target and Disney. 100% was the goodbye. It was the goodbye. Okay, let's get it, because we got to get onto it. All right. On September 14th, with full knowledge that Gabby Petito had been murdered by their son, Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie, through their lawyer, issued the following statement. It is our understanding that a search has been organized for Miss Petito in or near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. On behalf of the Laundrie family, it is our hope that the search of Miss Petito is successful and that Miss Petito is reunited with her family. On September 16th, attorney Richard Stafford, on behalf of Gabrielle Petito's family, issued a letter to Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie as follows. We are writing this letter to ask you to help find our beautiful daughter. We understand you're going through a difficult time and your instinct to protect your son is strong. We ask you to put yourselves in our shoes. We haven't been able to sleep or eat and our lives are falling apart. We believe you know the location of where Brian left Gabby. We beg you to tell us. As a parent, how could you let us go through this pain and not help us? As a parent, how can you put Gabby's younger brothers and sisters through this? Gabby lived with you for over a year. She was going to be your daughter-in-law. How can you keep her location hidden? You were both at Jim and Nicole's house. You were both so happy that Brian and Gabby got engaged and were planning to spend their lives together. Please, if you or your family have any decency left, please tell us where Gabby is located. Tell us if we're even looking in the right place. All we want is Gabby to come home. Please help us make this happen. Cassie knew more than she let on. Do you remember what she slipped up on? I remember there was something she already... There was something... I don't think that Cassie slipped up on... I just think that she was just really, really vague. Because she's like... She didn't want to say anything. And everybody was like, she knows something. So Cassie does know something. Pleading the fifth does not admit guilt. It doesn't. It looks guilty, but it doesn't. That's legally it doesn't. All right. Despite the fact that Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt implored Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie to tell them if their daughter was alive, and if she was not, where her remains located, Christopher and Roberta refused to respond to either Joseph and Nicole or law enforcement. Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie instructed that all contacts were to be made through their attorney, Bertolina, and issued no comment when asked about Gabrielle Petito's well-being. Guys, like, just listen to this for a second. No comment. Everybody on earth knows that they know, right? We all know. That time she said, I don't know, versus absolutely not, when asked if her parents were, okay. We know that they know. And the fact that they can literally sit there and say, no comment, makes them the most disgusting people on earth, right up there with Casey Anthony, right? And obviously they're going to be social outcasts for the rest of their lives, as they should be, because of what they knew and didn't tell anybody. But this case, I absolutely hope this case goes to trial so we can get more information. All right. While Joseph and Nicole were desperately searching for information concerning their daughter, Christopher and Roberta were keeping the whereabouts of Brian's Laundrie a secret. It is believed we're making arrangements for him to leave the country. Now, we know that there's nothing in this to prove that, but hear me out. Why would you say that unless you know something? Right, Roni? Why would you say that unless you have some proof of that? When they bring this to the court, to a trial, to a jury, they're going to have something. That to me is a bombshell right there. They are going to have something. They're going to have a digital trail, a receipt, something. Maybe the FBI found something, whatever the case may be, through discovery, that they could be a computer search for a flight, or maybe they went to a travel, what do you call those people? Travel brokerage, something like that. Carrie, I think that they know something, and I don't think you just make that unless you have something to bring to court with it. If the Laundries pay the money, can they still take them to court? Yes, they can settle outside of court, but that would be up to... I think that if Gabrielle's parents just dig their heels in, there's nothing you can do. They the Laundries can present offers and everything else to settle outside of court, but it's up to... They can say no, and they go to court. Like there's no way to get out of court if her parents want them to go to court, right? The only way to get out of this is to settle outside of court, sign all the NDRs, whatever, NDAs, sorry, all that kind of stuff. I can't see that happening. 30,000 right now is nothing. They're doing this because they need to get this on the record. They'd have to admit to guilt to not to what? They would have to admit to guilt, though, not just take the offer. Not necessarily, no. If the offer's high enough, you can sign papers and everything else. They're not going to settle, Ashley. I agree with you. They're not settling. There's no way. They have tons of evidence, not only with police and FBI, also social media, absolutely. Let's continue here. While Joseph and Nicole Schmidt were desperately searching for information, leave the country. So Christopher and Roberta knew of the mental suffering and anguish of Joseph and Nicole and knew that they could alleviate it, at least in part, such mental suffering and anguish by disclosing what they knew about the well-being and the location and remains of Gabriel. Yet they repeatedly refused to do so. Even today they do. In doing so, Chris and Roberta acted with malice or great indifference to the rights of Joseph and Nicole. That's a big deal right there. They either acted with malice, meaning that they didn't care, or they were just like, whatever, doesn't matter to us. And that's like damaging to another person. So they're saying you damaged these other people by doing that, right? So in a court of law, you're gonna be like, well, you damaged us. That's it. I don't know if they could sue the police. I mean, police definitely failed, but I don't know if you could sue them for that. Qualified immunity. Yeah, this is the Laura. Absolutely. They're taking this as far as they can so Gabby can get justice. Okay. Christopher and Roberta exhibited extreme and outrageous conduct which constitutes behavior under the circumstances which go beyond all possible bounds of decency and is regarded as shocking, atrocious, and utterly intolerable in a civilized community. Amen. As a direct and proximate result of the willfulness and maliciousness of Christopher and Roberta, Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt have been caused to suffer pain and suffering, mental anguish, inconvenience, loss of capacity for enjoyment of life, experienced in the past, and to be experienced in the future. So they request here it is. Wherefore, plaintiffs Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt respectfully request this honorable court enter judgment in their favor against defendants. Christopher and Roberta Laundrie'a award them just compensation for the damages they have suffered, together with costs and such other relief as honorable court deems appropriate. So they're leaving it open to the judge to say, well, I want you to give them $1 million, right? Where does it say that it's a trial, jury by trial? I want to just make sure it's a trial by jury. Sorry. Does it say that, or did I just pick that up somewhere? I don't see that anywhere. Okay. I don't know if you can do trial by jury civilly. Yeah, law enforcement wasted so much money, they should have to pay the law enforcement back. I mean, yeah, there's so much here. Remember the mom in the Mustang? She drove it home after she drove it away to the park. That was off. It's way off. Of course. They knew exactly where he went. Just the fact that they went to pick up the damn Mustang, they knew where he was. The fact that they went into the woods. Remember when we saw that, guys, together? When he beelined to some dense part of the forest and came out with a backpack? And the law enforcement were just kind of hanging out with him. Oh, let's see what you found there, mister. That was crazy. And at that moment, even I was like, you can't overlook that. You cannot overlook that. They wouldn't ask for a trial by jury if they didn't have a lot of... Okay, exactly. I don't know. I didn't see in here if this was a trial by jury, by the way. I don't know if that's what it means. So civil cases have juries. Okay. They definitely didn't search water when they were there. Well, they was flooded when they were searching. They knew everything. I mean... Hands up if you honestly think Brian's parents knew everything. I honestly believe they knew. Again, let's put it all in perspective, right? Brian either makes a call on the way or before he leaves, comes home. And so there's two avenues we can take here. He gets home with the van. And one thing that does lend itself to the lie that he told his parents was that he spent her money. If he had called them beforehand, this is what's perplexing to me. If he would have called them beforehand, they wouldn't have told him to spend her money, her credit card. They would have sent him money, correct? So that is one thing that's going to be a disparaging argument. Why did he spend her money, her credit card? If they knew, why didn't they send him money so that he could just use cash or whatever the case may be to get home? But he gets home regardless. He tells his parents his story. The one story he tells his parents is the truth, right? Got out of hand. I strangled her. I'm sorry. What do we do? The other hand is she left me. I don't know what happened. She was 2 days. I had to get home. I don't know what happened. I assume she flew home. Okay. What happens up to the point of September 2nd when her parents are looking, they hire a lawyer. As soon as they hire a lawyer, the two paths can't converge anymore. It's one path now. They know something's up, regardless of what they think they know. Maybe he's told them, well, maybe she died in the woods. Maybe she was kidnapped, whatever. No one knows where she is. Maybe she fell down a cliff. Well, let's hire a lawyer because you left and it looks guilty no matter what. Right? I'm giving you the biggest breadth of benefit of doubt you can absolutely have here, okay? So they hire a lawyer. Lawyer says don't say a word to anybody. Till body's found. They go camping. They do everything else. But the one thing about the camping I want to go back on is they went camping September 6th and 7th, they said, right? So, but they didn't find the body till the 19th. So if the camping trip was a goodbye, why? I don't believe that. Unless it was a goodbye because they were trying to get him out of the country before the body was found, which then would definitely connect to the idea of the proof that they might have of trying to get him out of the country. Because they're probably like, look, the body hasn't been found. It maybe will be. It's starting to go a little bit more viral by the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. Okay. Let's get you out of the country and get you gone. So let's go camping one final time, say goodbye to everybody. But again, it's a goodbye to like get him out. I don't think it's a goodbye that he's going to go out and alive himself in the woods because she's not found until the 19th. So it's a goodbye one way or the other, right? Which still doesn't make any sense. The parents calling, they're blocking calls. No parent on earth is going to be able to survive the onslaught of another parent looking for their daughter who was engaged to your son. She's missing, and you're just not going to say anything? There's so much here of guilt that I don't know, man. What is this? How are your Niagara Falls? What? Who is this? Okay, bye. Weirdo. Is Cassie listed on the case? I don't know. It doesn't say. I'm not sure they can bring it up. Gabby was reported missing on September 11th. Laundry mom blocks Petito mom on September 10th. And before that. Yeah, exactly, right? So, again, it's crazy because she's not even reported missing to the 11th, and they're going camping and making plans before she's reported missing. They're buying time to get Brian stashed. Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's too much here. I mean, if this gets to go to trial, guys, man, like I think there will be finally justice in the end. I think there will be some justice because the only people that you can get justice from at this point are Brian's parents. All Brian's parents had to do was be human. All they had to do was be human. Instead, they lied. They hid. They were cowards. I'm pretty sure they lied to law enforcement. And if that's the case, I hope that comes out. And they lied about, we just happened to find his backpack in the dentist part of these woods over here. That's a lie. That's a lie. You can't, that's a lie by omission. He knew exactly where his son was. He knew it. Where's the gun come from? Again, I hope that this opens up discovery so the lawyers can have a look at the book. Even if Brian's parents threw that book in the fireplace as soon as they got it, I'm pretty sure there's a copy. It's evidence, right? There's copies made of everything, hopefully. And if that's the case, I hope someone leaks it at the police. Hope it gets leaked. If we ever had a chance to look at that, or I'm hoping that at least Gabby's parents had a chance to look at that evidence, that journal, and maybe they did, which is why this is happening. Maybe they knew something. They did lie to law enforcement as they were arrested, but released 48 hours due to lack of evidence. Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is it, Christina. It's so disturbing to me that a parent would make another parent suffer like that by not telling them where their child was. I wouldn't even want to imagine. They knew exactly what yeah, they did. I mean, this is it. We're talking about a piece of humanity here. We're talking about what Brian did was obviously the unforgivable, right? Obviously. But what his parents did too it's unforgivable. To what end? Even now, to what end? He unalived himself. If that was the plan, I don't think that was the plan all along either. I think as soon as they made these plans, everything started going viral. They knew he wasn't going to be able to fly out or anything like that. I don't think that was the initial plan, everybody. I think the initial plan was to get him somewhere safe. But even to the point where he unalived himself, why didn't they just come out and say we knew? Right? They buried themselves. Everybody thought this, Desi. Everybody thought they knew what happened. We all do. Even they do. I'm betting the backpack Roberta was wearing had the gun and the journal in it. She made it look like they found it with Brian. Here's the thing. We can go back to that video. I don't know if I have. I don't know if I have quick access to it, but let me see if it's on YouTube real quick. It's interesting to watch this too, because if you look at her, why does she even have a backpack? Like, what's in there? It's pretty full too. So I want to see if I have the picture of them going into the woods. See if I can find that. Is this it? Is this not the footage, eh? This isn't the footage. Okay, hold on. Let me find it. I thought I had the footage. It's literally if you watch it, it's the craziest piece of footage I've ever seen. He just like pops into the woods. I gotta find it now. If anybody knows has a link for it, let me know. Okay, thanks. Let me know if you have it there. But I want to revisit that because obviously it's been a long time since we talked about it. But that when I watched that to me, I was like, man, it's just so crazy. See if I can find it. Okay, sorry guys. Yeah, I mean, the main things we do realize, you know, we want to go back, we want to revisit things because of what we know now, things that have actually changed based on the idea. I didn't know that she blocked her on all social medias and phones and all that kind of stuff, but that's kind of chachi. That's gross. They looked relaxed. That's true timely manner. They're so just chill. Hey, look what we found over here. Check it out, you know? Like, their behavior is so weird. No longer available. Interesting. Let me see if I have let me see if I have it here. Let me go through my old files real quick. Sorry, guys. Talk amongst yourselves. Yeah. I mean, they're going to have everything, too. Let's see if I have it on my phone. I might have it on my phone, actually. Okay. Can't seem to find it. Yeah, this is just a live. I don't do this at all. No, I usually just pre-record generally. This is just a conversation. Do these for real crime. You found it, Kathy? I don't have it. You think Brian couldn't take it and his parents were actually even more evil and told him to keep quiet because he wrote down then died? Interesting. I hope we find out. No, Kathy, I've just sent it to me on Instagram. Don't you think it would be easier for paper to deteriorate than skin? There was hardly any of his skin left from understanding, just bone. Possibly, but it was in a backpack, remember? And the backpack that his dad picked up looked like one of those waterproof backpacks. So even if it wasn't waterproof, it was still closed in a bag. So probably would have been more protected. Yeah, the notebook was in a dry bag. Even though it was a hole in the dry bag, we did notice that. This is why they should take the stand. We need to know it at the end. Again, they're going to try everything in their power to not take the stand. So here we go. Thank you. Here he is. See if we can get it bigger for you guys. Yeah, this is crazy. Okay, here. Not a very big picture, but do what you can with it. Blow full screen yours if you can. Here we go. Look where he's going. I don't know if you guys can see that. Okay, look. Okay, I've shown you this before. This is the path, everybody. Look how dense the woods where he's going is. Look how dense it is. Who in their right mind just says, I'm going to take a turn right here on this path and come out with a bag? And look at the behavior of his wife, okay? She just kind of cruising over here. That's her waiting because she knows too. That's her waiting for him to come out with the bag. She knows it's in there too. Look how deep he is in there. Did we ever figure out who filmed this? It was the news, right? It was the news that did it. Look at him. Look at him. This is so crazy. This is so nuts. I don't like that they cut here, though. And then he came out with this bag. Oh, here it is. I found it, everybody. Problem solved. The millions and millions and millions of dollars you guys spent looking for him, I just went in and found it in the corner of the woods. Such garbage. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. No police around. It was a reporter. It was a media person filming on their potato. Yeah, it's true. It sucks. It's literally filmed with a calculator, which doesn't help. But do you see the body language? He goes into this dense part of the woods. His wife's just hanging out. Oh, I know it's in there. Just wait for you out here. Then it cuts. And they're like, look what I found. Here it is. And they don't go like, there's no crying. There's no body language. Nothing like that. It's just like, yeah, we knew it was here. Let's go talk to the police now. Cops wouldn't have left him alone unless they knew he would find it. True, man. I can't believe no one, even in the news, I don't even think I've heard any from WFLA or Brian, anybody else say this. The one thing of him walking into the dense part of the forest to pick it up. Nobody has even said that. I don't know why people are scared to talk about that. Because I guess you can't prove it, I guess. But man, as a human, you can see right through that. Yeah. I don't know why they picked it up and tampered with it. This is another because you're right on the button here. Think about this for a second. That's evidence. And they just picked it up? Why didn't you say, hey, I found something. I don't want to touch it, so I can't be construed as doing something illegal because this is a murder investigation and he picked up evidence. And nobody wants to say, maybe you shouldn't pick up evidence? Did they bring the cops back to that spot? What? I don't get it. Why would you touch it? They needed to touch it. That's what I'm telling you. They needed to grab it. And a police might have been like, are you kidding me? You picked up evidence off the ground and brought it? Where did you find it? What? Again, fingerprints. Big one for Kathy. Exactly. This is huge. If they didn't touch it, right? Their fingerprints are on the bag. Their fingerprints are on the stuff inside. Because maybe they found fingerprints on this book or the gun, right? And the fingerprints are his parents' fingerprints. Well, yeah, our fingerprints are on it. Because we touched the shit. We were touching it. Maybe. Exactly, Taylor. Had they already touched it before, this covers that, gives them explanation to say, why are your fingerprints on this stuff? On the gun? On the book? Well, because, you know, I touched it because I picked it up. You should be put in jail for touching murder evidence. It's a crime. I think so, Linda. And obviously not because they're not in jail. Is it a crime to interfere with a crime scene? Is it not, or was it not a crime scene anymore because they opened the park back up? And don't forget, they opened the park back up and like 2 hours later, they found it. Can't date fingerprints. I think it was in the vicinity. Again, I don't understand why nobody wants to talk about this. Tampering with evidence. Why was this not brought up? You don't pick up. If you know that's your son's bag, then you call the police. If you don't have service, you leave your wife there or whatever, or whatever. I'm going to go find the police so they can come pick this up and there's a chain of custody. This is what I said, Kelly, right at the beginning. That shit was planted. And if not, at minimum, we know that his dad knew exactly where he went. Because that where he went was crazy after spending, a month looking for him with all the most heavily armed equipment and everything else looking for this guy. All of a sudden, dad just strolls into the woods like, oh, here it is, you guys. Your whole department couldn't find it. I found it in 2 seconds. I just don't get it, man. That's the most perplexing thing about this is that nobody wants to talk about that. It's so crazy. So what's the consensus on the situation? Yes, if the parents found the bag, yeah, they found the bag because they, one of two things. They put it there or they knew it was there. You know what, Amber, I don't want to believe this, but at the same time, the police were already made to look like fools through this entire thing. It's in their best interest to get this shit done, to just have this case over with. They don't want to complicate it anymore because they messed it up since the beginning. They let him get away, everything else. And in this case, too, they didn't come out and have a press conference and say, yeah, his dad should not have touched that. Nobody said a word. It's in law enforcement down there's best interest to get this done off the docket. They don't want any more problems. Okay? They don't want any more problems. The FBI and the police will never admit when they screw up unless they have no other choice. Here, they just buried it. No one said a word. No Fox News analyst, no WFLA, Brian Enton didn't think to ask police, is there going to be repercussions for him touching evidence? What? Nobody asked the question. Now, I don't think cops are in on it. No, I don't think they're in on it. You're right, Jackie, but I think that they had already been made to look like a bunch of freaking Peckerwood jackasses. And then this happens, and they're like, oh my God, another thing we messed up on. What do we do? They should have arrested him for touching that stuff. No one's paying them to not say it, but the police, it's not in the police interest after messing up this case to bring any more attention to how shitty they are. Kelly says, oh, thank you, Kelly. Appreciate that. It'd be interesting though, because this is interesting because the park was closed until that moment. So unless they snuck into the park or had somebody sneak into the park for them, they couldn't have done it. They had to have had someone do it for them. And I mean, how easy would it be to sneak into a park? Probably pretty easy, right? So because here's how that does make sense. Okay. Hear me out. I know this is here and put my tinfoil hat on for a second. Here's how that could make sense, right? They're on a path that breaks into this really specific area. You can tell it. You walk down the path, 150 more, and there's this like dense little cutout. That's where I'm going to put the bag. Whoever put it there, if that's the case, right? I'm saying that if this is we're just talking about it, right? And they could say that's where it is. He goes in there, finds it, boom, right? If it's planted, whatever. The other thing is they knew exactly where Brian was, even though they said to the law enforcement that they had no idea. Okay. And then they knew he was going to be there. Likely because maybe they went with him first time. Or when they went to pick up the car, Brian's like, this is where I'm hanging out. And his mom knew. True. What was in Roberta's bag? That thing was packed. Oh, thank you, Alexis. I appreciate that. The problem is that we're never going to answer. We don't have evidence of them planting now. They're never going to get it. They're never going to say, oh, yeah, we did that. We're never going to have that. All we have is conjecture. Yeah, any normal parent would have been in tears finding that bag. Absolutely. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but he hadn't been found yet, right? Or was he found? I don't know. I'm not sure how this went down. I'm kind of forgot now. 20,000, is that what he was left? Why are they having to sue? Why are they not being brought up on charges? Because if they get brought up on charges, it's going to show how bad the police did. That's what's going to happen here. You only have civil right now. The father went looking for him that night. Then they both went back to get the Mustang. Leo found the actual skeleton, but did they find the skeleton before his dad found that bag in that video? Bag was first. Okay, are we sure about that? Okay, exactly. So hear this out. They knew exactly where he was. He finds the bag, then all FBI rushes in there and boom, they set up the tent and all that stuff and they find everything else. Man, they had reason to just get this done. They didn't even have to go find that bag. They're like, look, we got to get this done. So we're going to go find the bag. We're going to give them the big hint that they need to go find him because we know exactly what happened and get this done. That was their way of doing it. Guys, the craziest thing about this case is not even the murder. It's not even the coming back of the van or anything else. It's this moment right here. That this dad found this bag after they were looking for a month like that. Just insane. Just looked it up. They said on the Miami News in October that the body and the bag were found at the same time. Well, they found the bag, then they found the body because it was right, obviously, in that location. Why did Dad help Brian clean out Gabby and Brian's storage unit? Yeah. That's one thing we do have to talk about, Haley. He's like, what happened with the storage unit thing? What was that? He flew. Remember, don't forget, Brian flew home to take Gabby's stuff out of the house. That's a big deal, too. So after he came back from the trip, he had his phone. Where was his phone when he went missing? Did they say he left it behind? I don't think we know exactly what happened with that. Yeah, the storage unit was before the fight. Yes, it was before the fight. He flew home I think it was the 17th, while she stayed at the hotel. And he cleared out her stuff and put it in storage. So wait, it would be interesting on what Brian told Gabby he was doing with her stuff. She talked to her dad while he was gone. I don't think Gabby knew what Brian was doing. I think he used an excuse to go home for something else and cleared out all her stuff. I don't think she knew. Because if she did know at that point, wouldn't her parents know? Because she spoke to her parents like every day. Wouldn't she tell that to her parents? Hey, Brian's getting rid of my stuff, putting it in storage. We don't know anything about that moment of the storage. Did she know? And if she did, thank you. Do her parents know? Again, what kind of conversation is that? I'm flying home right now to get your stuff out of the house and put it in storage. Why? Why? Yeah, this is what I'm asking, Kirby. I don't know if they knew about the storage, if they were taking it out. Again, why are you saying I'm flying home to get your stuff out of the house? Why? I'd be like, okay, what for? It proves to me, in my brain, that they were done at that point. They were already at the end of the relationship. He's like, I'm going to get your stuff, put it in storage. When we get back, go our separate ways, whatever. No, they took it out of the house into storage, right? Oh, he was taking stuff out of storage to save money. Is that what we were saying? Is that what we're landing on? Okay, my understanding was his parents were getting a divorce, and I thought at the beginning they said he was putting both their stuff in the storage because his parents were moving out. That would make more sense. I think we did talk about that. But still, why couldn't they just do it? So you're going to fly home from your thing to put stuff in storage. Why couldn't the mom and dad do it? Insane. So this case is far from over. And again, we're going to keep track of when they're going to go to court. I mean, I don't know, with COVID and everything backing up everything, it's going to be really interesting to follow this. But we read it word for word. So everybody has that in their brain if you watch this video. So I think Brian probably sent his parents a pin. I think we did discuss that people who lived up there, who went there, there's no cell service there where he was. That's what they're saying. So I don't know if that's possible. It could be possible. Just saying. I don't think he even had his phone because the police could have tracked it. He did have we do know that they went to a phone store. Maybe they had a burner. I don't think he had $20,000 in the bank. Is that true? Or was he just, that was his life insurance was that? Why would you send a text saying no service? It's true. Maybe they meant, I mean, yeah. They're probably saying, hey, we're heading up to Yosemite. We know there's no service up there. But yeah, we know it was a lie anyway. So he's not very smart. And good. Are we sure about this, Haley? I don't know. I've never heard anything like that. Mom and dad gave him $20,000? Where is this? Oh, his grandparents left him $20,000. Okay. The parents are trying to get the $20,000 in his bank account. Well, they shouldn't. Oh, his inheritance is $20,000 from when he turned 25. Yep, that does happen a lot. They're not going to flee. These people are being tracked 100%. And where are they going to go? To them, like, there's no way anybody's going to let them get away. Yeah, if you were, Stephanie, DV survivor here, and I know that had I not left, I would not be here. You can get help. You or someone you know is an abuse. Please seek help, guys. And one thing that this case did shine a light on was this idea of staying with abusive people and what it could end in. And so if you are someone who is being abused or in a domestic violence situation, a relationship like that, please seek help. There's so many people that they're willing to help you. Surround yourself with support and get out of that situation. Please. Yeah, this is another thing that makes the police look bad. Why did everyone else but the police do the police work? This was not solved by the police, everybody. This was solved by Red, White, and Bethune dropping 4K GoPro footage. That's how this was solved. The internet explodes. The FBI gets involved. This gets solved by internet sleuths. And it made the police every step of the way drop the ball. Remember the police when they had everybody out and we did the thing when they had the press conference, they're like, hey, they borrowed our drones and stuff. Happy, and there was nothing. And people, even Brian and the WFLA were like, what the hell was that? It is crazy how incompetent some police departments are. And that should scare the crap out of everybody. Some are good. Some are like, what? How did you become the head of a police department? True, if he was being tracked, how did the police not see him drive the Mustang out there? Lydia St. John, though, there has been chatter, though, that neighbors around the park did hear a gunshot on or about the 15th to 17th. That's what I remember. Of course the police will take the credit. Of course. Laundrie attorney commented shortly after Brian went missing that both families were grieving loss. Yeah. I believe they knew at that time that Brian was dead. All right. Well, obviously, we're going to keep track of it. If anything breaks, we will talk about it. But I really, really do enjoy these chats with you guys and everybody having, a say, even the trolls popping in once in a while. It's nice to have you here. But thanks for being here, everybody. This is a case that's obviously perplexing. Thank you, Kelly. I really appreciate it. Do you think he planned it out or was it spur of the move? I think I think everything took a turn after things were going down. I don't think that was planned. So I got to get to bed, everybody. It's March break with the kids. We got to have some fun tomorrow. Maybe we'll go to IKEA or something. I don't know. But Westy wants to snuggle, so I'm going to go snuggle with the old Westenheimer. He likes to snuggle on Friday nights. I can't miss the snuggles. It's the best snuggles in the world. So it's my honor as a daddy. So everybody, thank you for joining me in this crowdsourced conversation about real crime. You are incredible, valuable. Don't you forget it. And I'll see you like Monday or something.